It's time for some more about the theory of evolution. And this time it's the evolution of Caterpillar track loaders. This presentation set from Diecast Masters covers cat track loaders from Traxcavators to today, and it includes two models, the 977D and the 963K. After the small Diecast Masters catalogue, we have the main book that describes the history of the track loaders. And then there's one small part to be fitted. And if we take out the plastic former, we get closer to the models. But there's still another plastic former to take out. With that out, we're still not quite finished with the packaging because there's some plastic film to take off. And then we get our first proper look at the models in the box. The box is very high quality and it has reprints of marketing brochures on the lid and various photos around the inside of the box. To get the models out, you need to carefully lift them because they're fitted to the display plate. And there is one more small plastic former that has to be removed. Come rain or shine, we always show the assembly, which is appropriate because in this case we just have to fit an umbrella. Let's start with the book, and quite literally this is the film of the book. It's a high quality ring-bound book with 44 pages. It tracks the history of these machines and it actually starts with the D2. And then it moves on through some different machines including the HT4 and the number 6. And then we get to the first of the models in this set, which is the 977D. As you can see, it's full of high quality photos from the Caterpillar archive. And there's plenty of information describing all of the models in the series. And at the back there's a listing of all the machines with some technical details. So overall this is a really nice piece of work and it goes with the set very well. Looking at the models, we'll start with the 977D, and it's got a very detailed track frame and nice metal tracks. The track rollers are not working, but the upper ones are detailed. At the back there's a 3-tine ripper assembly, and there are some hydraulic hoses running to the cylinder. One thing that's very nice is the very sharp graphic lettering, and at the top we've got a couple of simple work lights. Moving to the front, the radiator grille is really nice, but you can see that the rivets on the loader arm are quite large, although they are painted. Moving on to the operator, and he's there stuck in his seat, but one nice touch is that it says Caterpillar on his cap. One thing that the operator does highlight is that the knobs on the control levers are rather large. The bucket is on the simple side with some wear plates and teeth. The 963K also has a detailed track frame. The metal tracks are decent, but again there are no working rollers. At the back the grille is nicely formed, and the ripper assembly is there with some simple hydraulics. On the side panels the grilles are detailed by using graphics, and the various grab rails are in tough plastic. Moving to the cab, there's a door handle in the glass, there's a windscreen wiper, and again the grab rails at the front are plastic. Inside the cab you've got the familiar Diecast Masters operator. At the front the black parts are plastic, but the various connections are nice because they're more discreet. The metal bucket has got some nice structure and decent teeth. The set comes on a nice plastic display base, but if you want to remove the models you can. But you do need to be a handy Andy with the screwdriver. The screws are quite long, but they do come out relatively easily. With the screws off, the models are free to run about. But firstly you need to remove the plastic mounts which are underneath each model. With that done, we can now test out the features, and we'll start with the good old 977D. The crawler tracks can be made to roll, but they are just a little bit stiff, and they're also joined onto common axles so both tracks roll together. At the back we've got a ripper assembly, so let's give that a try. It is fairly stiff, but you do get a good range of downward movement. So this one might be able to gouge out your tabletop. Moving to the front, we'll try out the loader arm assembly, and it goes up to a decent height. You can also get a decent carry pose when it's up, but the rams are stiff, and it's much more difficult to get a decent tipping pose. If we lower the bucket, you can't really get a carry pose when the bucket's down at the bottom. You can almost hear the operator shouting, "Oh, bucket." To test the functionality, let's try loading up a low-sided road tipper. And the 977D does a good job to get the bucket high enough. The bucket can be tilted to get rid of its load, but the tilt angle just isn't quite enough. Still, we will cut it some slack because it's an old timer. Moving on to the 963K, and the tracks are much more free rolling. They turn really easily, and it's not like the 977D because the two tracks are separate. We move round to the back to have a look at the ripper, and it goes up to a good height. But your tabletop is safe because you won't get much penetration with this ripper. Let's move around and take a look at the front loader. And it goes up well enough with a good carry angle, but it doesn't seem overly high. But what you can see is that the tipping angle is excellent. But when the bucket is back down to the ground, you can't get a good carry angle there. Anyway, different machine, same test. And you can see there's only just enough bucket height to get over our low-sided tipper. But what we can do is get a good tipping angle, although the bucket needs to be higher in the first place. These are two nicely detailed models, and they certainly look good. Although the functionality of them is not the best, the real purpose behind this set is to present them in a presentation way. And certainly this set is very interesting, complete with the book that's provided. So overall, as a package, it is excellent.